Greetings from Cybertron. This is SoundJack here with a review of the Transformers Cybertron Voyager class Soundwave. So I'm starting my reviews on this channel with this figure because A, I really like Soundwave. Soundwave is my all-time favorite Decepticon. And B, Transformers Cybertron was the first cartoon that I watched and was the show that got me into Transformers. So to have a Soundwave that from Cybertron really, to me, is a big part of this channel to me. So I have, of course, had to start off with this guy. He is a very good figure and a good representation of Soundwave, though not without his issues. So let's get looking in on the vehicle mode. As you can see, you got a nose cone, some silver there, some little interesting spikes going on, some silver around the cockpit, some translucent purple there. Going up behind the cockpit is a lot of black, some more translucent purple with some gold detailing on that, which looks pretty nice. Going along the side, this is mostly parts of the robot mode legs, but you see some silver details, some red details, some other details that aren't picked out in paint. Then you come to this section, and this is just the robot mode crotch and upper leg area, and it's just kind of there, and doesn't look all too great, but it's there. They tried, they put it somewhere. We also have these tail fins, which are very nice silver and some very nice sparkly gold paint going on there. And we'll come to the wings, and you can see some more details with some of that same gold, sparkly gold paint I was just talking about. Some details also unpainted, but you can see there's some very nice detail along here. Coming to the back, you got these bits of weirdly shaped wings, which are important. And then the lower torso bit. Underneath, it's mostly one piece. These wings and this section are all just one solid piece. But there are still some pretty neat details going on. None of it picked out in paint, but it's the bottom of the vehicle, so I'm surprised they even detailed it as much as they did. But then there's also Soundwave's head right there and Soundwave's chest going on there. There's also some landing gear. Landing wheels more so. He's got 3 wheels, one there, and 2 in the back. And actually it rolls very well. Surprisingly, for a jet, he does a very good job at rolling. All right, next up, let's look at the accessories that come with Soundwave. So first of all, here are his 2 weapons. They are in their bomb configuration. He also comes with his little partner Laserbeak. Oops. The little partner Laserbeak, which also forms a bomb. And his Cyber Planet key. It's a very nice, clear, translucent orange plastic painted with silver. Nice Decepticon symbol detailed in there. And on the back, there's a VMJ8, which was a code you could use on the official Transformers website to access more information about Soundwave. Speaking of information on Soundwave, did forget to mention that he's sort of based on an actual vehicle. He's like a Cybertronian version of the Pave Blue, which was a prototype for the F-117A Nighthawk. And it does look a very nice bomber, stealth bomber, which gets into the gimmick with the Cyberplanet key. Because in the Transformers Cybertron toy line, if you don't know, they all came with Cyberplanet keys that could activate gimmicks. So for him, you take the key and plug it into this port. And what it will do is it will open his chest. Now, with his chest open, you can insert one of his other accessories, stow it in there, and insert the key. And you can drop bombs on your enemies. Yeah. So Laserbeak can store in the chest. These other two are also able to store in the chest. There's also storage ports, places to store the bombs underneath the wings. You can see this. You can see this weirdly shaped slots that I mentioned before, and some tabs to hold them in. However, because of how they're shaped, they can only really go in a certain way, and even sometimes it's a little tricky to find it out. So this particular one has to go in like that. This particular one does something like that. And they can hold, sometimes they're a bit looser. Laserbeak is not able to store in these places, but these are able to store in the chest. But if you want all three of them stored, you're going to have to store these two on the wings and Laserbeak in the chest compartment. But for now, let's put Soundwave off to the side and look at Laserbeak in a little more detail. You can see he's just a hexagonal cylinder, mostly black with some gray bits sticking out and some red turbines on the ends of him. Now to transform him, you're going to come and pull the sides out. Pull those sides out. And then you're going to come back and you're going to take this panel, fold it out, and fold this tip out. And then take these two panels and fold them out. And that's wing all done. You repeat that on the other side. Fold that out, fold those out, and you've got the wings all done. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to come down here to this gray piece and you're going to fold that out. And then this black section you're going to pull back as well to extend that tail out completely. You'll come up here, you'll take these feet and angle them down. Repeat that on this side. Take that, angle that down, and you got some feet going on. Fold up the head. You can angle this entire section. These entire sections rotate. So you can angle those a little bit and it gives them kind of a little bit of a hunch. And there you have Laserbeak in his bird mode. And he is a very nice Laserbeak. I think this might be one of my favorite, more modern Laserbeaks. Coming in on the head, Soundwave can allow it to focus. There we go. You can see he's got a little red in the eye. He's got some marks that give him look like crow's feet coming out of his eyes, which is amusing. There's some little guns sticking out on the side there on both sides, if you can see them right there, and that's very nice. So he is armed. The legs, there's like little toes going on, but there's not a whole lot to the legs besides that. Coming up to the wings, you can see with the fins, the tail fins, not the tail fins, the feathers sticking out, that there's like some feather detail going on these wings, and that's very nice. Both sides have that. There's some interesting details on the back there. Underneath, of the wings. You get the same detail you got on the top of the wings basically, but the turbine isn't painted at all. And there's a little 5mm post, and we'll get to that more later on. Now for a size comparison, here it is with Legends class Bumblebee. You can see how they scale. Deluxe class Chrome Dome. How they scale. Voyager class, whoops, I dropped one of the bombs. Voyager class Megatron. How they scale. A lot larger, this Soundwave, though he's also got the wings to make up for it. And Leader class 6 Shot. You can see their scale. Move the camera up a little bit. With the wings, whoops. With the wings, Soundwave's about as wide and as long as 6 Shot, but 6 Shot certainly has more bulk to him. And lastly, with his fellow compatriot channel mascot, Deluxe Prime Wheeljack. And you can see how these two look together. So that's all there is to say on the vehicle mode. So let's move on to the transformation and get us to the robot mode. So the first thing you're going to do is, if they didn't fall out already, you remove the buttons. You could keep them on, but I'll just remove them for this transformation. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to come up and you're going to pull this cockpit section up on this double hinge. Next, what you're going to do is fold the tail fins down and out of the way. Then you'll come and pull the legs out from the side of the jet. You'll move that out of the way so it gets out of the way. You're going to come to the back and fold that panel out. Next one you're going to do is this entire section folds out and is going to rotate around on those two hinges, and that square tab is going to go into that square hole there, and like so, and then but that's not going to lock it in. You're going to need this piece with this peg will go into that hole to lock the entire lower body in. Come on. That tab's in there, that tab's in there, that is now all locked together. So, and then for the legs, you're gonna fold them down, like so. Rotate at the knee. In order for it to be transformed, the legs have to be at this angle. So, to get back to the robot mode, you're gonna straighten the legs out. Come down to the feet, fold the foot out, and fully extend the heel piece back. Do the same on the other side. Rotate, straighten the leg out, fold the foot out, straighten the heel spur out, and fold these skirt flaps down, and that's the lower section of Soundwave all done. So next what's going to happen is we're going to pull out the arms, and we're going to start by untabbing this arm from that arm with that tab going into that hole there right next to my thumb, and folding that out on that double hinge. Now you're going to come to this nose cone and you're going to unpeg that, either because that's the peg in this giant blue section that that goes in that hole, which you can see right there. And then fold this arm out of that gap on these 3 hinges actually it's got going on. And then you fold the nose cone onto the back of the arm like so. All right, so now you have this. So what's going to happen is you're going to fold the backpack down on the hinge closest to the torso first. Wait a second. You're going to fold, sorry, the upper hinge first, the hinge furthest away from the torso, and then you're going to fold it down on the other hinge. And when that happens, these 2 pegs will go into 2 holes right there, and that will connect that into place. And you got that. There's 2 pegs on this side of the chest that will peg into 2 holes on this arm to lock that arm in place. On this arm, you have one peg to go into the 1 hole on that side. And you got that all situated. For the head, there's a double hinge here. You're going to fold that down so it sits flush with the chest. Rotate the head around. And there you have Soundwave in robot mode. And he's a little tricky to stand. He's got a lot of backpack and some very skinny legs that don't necessarily like to position. Before talking about that more, let's get into looking at the robot mode in closer detail. So as you can see his face going on there. You can see he's got a nice gold faceplate going on, a little like chin patch of blue there. Nice helmet detail, some little stripes going on. You even got a couple of rivets going on at the corners of his head there. He has a very nice purple visor, which has light piping going on. So as you can see the light piping going through there. Moving down, you see the chest compartment. Very nice gold, very similar translucent purple plastic, a nice Decepticon symbol right there. A little bit of red in those sections. Moving down at the lower torso, you got some details picked out and some silver there. Going to the legs, you saw most of the legs in robot mode because of these panels sticking out, and then the legs on the sides of the jet. But there's some more of the detail. To the arms, there's a little bit of detail, so a red stripe. Interesting bits are there's some speakers going on his forearms. On this arm, it's a little different because there's a hole there, which we'll get to in a bit when we get back to the accessories. And the wings, again, you saw most of that in the vehicle mode. And the back is basically the underside of the vehicle mode. That is an issue that I have with Soundwave. Like I mentioned before, this huge backpack makes it hard for him to stand, but it also makes him hard to pose because on top of this one giant section that you can't do anything with, his forearms also have this large nose cone and this canopy that also makes it tricky for him to pose in a lot of positions. But ignoring the way the things that will prevent him from posing, let's just look at the articulation. So his head is on a ball joint. It can rotate the full 360. You can look up and down. You can do all of that. The left arm has a shoulder joint that allows it to go out that far. It's able to rotate. You probably missed that. It's able to rotate like so. It'd probably be able to do a full 360 if the wings weren't in the way. There is also a swivel here that allows his arm to rotate a full 360. He's also got an elbow joint that allows him to bend 90 degrees and nothing at the wrists. The right arm has the same articulation, except it is also able to hinge in and out right there. That also applies to a gimmick with this special 5mm post right there. Getting to the legs, all of these skirt flaps are able to move out, so as his leg articulation has room to go. So for the legs, they're on a ratchet. They're on a soft-sounding ratchet joint that allow him to go that far out. It allows him to go that far forward. He can only bend his leg that far back due to, again, the back kibble. There's a swivel joint at the knee. There's a heavy ratchet at the knee that is very tight. These are both very tight knees. There's the articulation to permit him to get into jet mode, so I guess you can give him a broken leg if you want. And then his feet you can pivot both the toe and the heel. So there's that. Now, all right. Now if you'll stand for me. Now getting into the accessories. He does have the two bombs that turn into his robot mode weapons. So we'll start with this one, which has a lot more translucent purple plastic, though both of them have some translucent purples. Both of them are also have black and gray pieces molded onto them. This one, you're gonna rotate out like so. And this top barrel will fold out like that. Come over here. This shorter barrel will fold out like that. And then it'll come down here, and there's a nice grip for your thumb to come and pull this out. You pull down the handle, and there is the first blaster. Very nice details on the barrels on the sides of the blaster. Then this one, you have these purple pieces. All of them will fold out like so. This one's a little tricky to get into. Sometimes it's easier to pull what will be the handle and then pull this particular piece out. But we're not done, because then we rotate this 180, so the smaller the barrels is on top compared to where the handle is positioned. So, now that we got both the blasters done, there's various places we can place them. Both of his fists, not hips, his fists are 5mm compatible, so you can stick them in there. This, as I mentioned, is 5mm compatible, so you can stick them in there if you want. The tops of his wings, there are 5mm posts in there if you want to stick them in there. And there's also a 5mm post next to his head. It does not fit this particular blaster all that well. You can get it in there, but it will be forced at the side and will knock Soundwave's head out of the way. This one is in particular meant for this blaster, and it mimics the original Soundwave's shoulder-mounted cannon, which is very nice. So the ideal position with this toy is that on the head, and this one in his hand, like so. Besides that, he also still has his functional. The cyber key is still functional in the robot mode. The plug has moved to his lower back, so you stick the key in there, and his chest still opens like such. And you can still store any of the weapons or Laserbeak in his chest as such. You can also store the weapons on the back in these gaps if you also want to desire. There's nothing that's changed to prevent you from doing so. And the last is Laserbeak. If you get him into a more seated position, which you do by putting the feet up, kind of like how they were in his alternate mode, you have access to this 5mm peg, which can be used to store him either on top of his wings, like that, and then reposition him so it looks like he's perched up there. Whoops. Or upon his forearm, like so. And then you use that extra articulation. Whoops. Pull that out. You use the extra articulation in the shoulder to get him into a good position for Soundwave to look at his pet on his perched upon his arm. And that is really cool. I do very much like that. You can move that shoulder out of the way like that and get him to look straight at him. But I do very much like that. Laserbeak is actually able to perch on Soundwave's arm. That is so cool. But yeah, that's it for the accessory. So let's look at him. Let's look at a size comparison for Soundwave. Here he is with Titan's Return Legends Class Bumblebee. Comes up to about his knees. Deluxe Class Chrome Dome. Comes up to about his chest. Leader Class Megatron. About the same head height. Sun was just a tad taller at the head, but definitely larger with the wings. The Megatron has more bulk to him. And Leader Class 6 Shot, which with the wings, Soundwave gets to about his head, but each 6 Shot still has more kibble to make him a little bit taller. And, of course, with his channel mascot compatriot, Wheeljack. And they look very nice together. Now for my overview with Soundwave. Soundwave for the year 2005-2006 was a very good modern adaptation of the G1 Soundwave. It has a lot of the right elements to make him a good update to Soundwave. He's got the color scheme, he's got the face, he's got the Laserbeak partner, he's got the chest compartment gimmick, he's got a shoulder mounted cannon. But the toy itself does have issues that make it from being too great, mainly stability issues and standing, in part because of the legs being kind of thin, and also that knee bend, the halfway down the leg bend, making it a little unstable, and a lot of the backpack making it top heavy and back heavy to make it even harder to stand, and also the big kibble chunks on the backs of the forearms, like I said, also hindering articulation in him. But if you are a fan of Soundwave, I do think this is a very good adaptation of the figure, and I would encourage you to get it for those reasons. If you're just a general fan and you're just generally into Transformers, I'm not positive if this would be a figure I would be able to strongly recommend to you, but it is a cool figure, and if it appeals to you, you can look up and see if you can get one for a good price. So, that's all I have to say on Soundwave. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SoundJack426. Also, please consider donating to my Patreon page to help support the channel. All the links will be in the description below. Thanks for tuning in. This is SoundJack signing off.